Welcome to another edition of the Hoop Scoop. I'm Jarret Johnson, and the Red Raiders have been impressive overall as of late, as of course Texas Tech has won 4 of its last 5 games. Most recently, the Red Raiders beat Iowa State, who was number 15 at the time, at home at the USA after losing to Iowa State, though being undermanned, out in Ames earlier in the season. But man, before I move on to the fact Texas Tech is hosting West Virginia this weekend in another, of course, big Big 12 game, I just want to take a moment to look back on that game and how impressive Texas Tech was, just overall, but especially on defense. You know, they had a small lead at halftime. They really turned up the perimeter defense, well, the entire defense, but certainly the perimeter defense against Iowa State was very impressive. I remember thinking Kevin McCullough being the tip of the spear in really putting pressure on Iowa State's offense in terms of they were in that like 3-quarter trap, but would back off into it, and they were really playing the passing lanes aggressively, making everything difficult for Iowa State, and it just looked like typical Tech defense that we've gotten used to here in the last handful of years. And it was a huge win. The Red Raiders ended up winning by 12 points, but they were up by 20-something points. They put in kind of the bench, and the lead got watered down. But make no mistake, that was a dominant performance against a team that was ranked 15th in the country going into that matchup. So Texas Tech, they handled their business big time. They by beating Kansas at home, then beating Baylor there at Waco. Then they beat Oklahoma State by 21 points before falling to Kansas State in Manhattan. And I think everybody was kind of like, uh-oh. But I think that win over Iowa State and the fashion that they did so really kind of put to bed, like, is Tech going to slump now? And perhaps the most impressive part of all of this is the Red Raiders. I don't think they've hit their ceiling. I mean, TJ Shannon is still trying to get his legs back under him and get back into form. I think Kevin O'Banner is doing a lot of really good things, specifically on the boards and scoring on the interior. But I think, if he ever recaptures his 3-point shooting touch, I mean, he's just going to be a handful. Bryson Williams is doing his thing, and if that continues, Tech's going to be tough. Adonis Arms has been great in really all facets of the games. Kevin McCullough, does a lot of the same as well, and is a great perimeter defender. So things are really starting to round into shape for Texas Tech, obviously with these results. And now you got West Virginia. They're hungry though. They lost. They took on Kansas and Baylor, and they lost both those games. So they're coming in, looking for a win. The Red Raiders are 14-4, 4-2, while the Mountaineers are 13-4 and 2-4 in conference. So West Virginia is going to be really hungry to get this W, but I think there's a couple of things that if Texas Tech continues to do, I think they'll win, and I think they'll win convincingly. They should at home. It's by the way, that game against West Virginia is 11 a.m. Central Time tip-off here at the USA in Lubbock, and the game will be televised on ESPN2. So, but here are the things I think Texas Tech needs to do in order to get that W. First off, I think against West Virginia, they have to continue to at least win on the boards. If they dominate the boards like they have in some of these games, I think Texas Tech, like I said, will win convincingly. Especially, they hold West Virginia to one shot, and then on the other end, guys like Kevin O'Banner are getting those offensive rebounds and putbacks. Tech's just really tough to beat. Also, continue to work on the rotation. I would like Malik Wilson to get some more time, though I know Terrence Shannon digs into that time. If Tech continues to do a better job at taking care of the ball, they've gotten a little better at that here recently, not against Kansas State, but in some of these other games than they were doing earlier in the season. And I think that's it's going to continue to be a huge storyline for the Red Raiders, is if they take care of the basketball or not. If they do those two things, plus just don't fall apart from the free throw line, they're not going to be a great free throw shooting team. It looks like they're going to be mid to high 60s for most of the year. But as long as they continue to shoot high 60s or low 70s, if they can do that, they beat West Virginia going away. I really believe that. I mean, Texas Tech's potential right now is just off the charts. They get this win, go to 5-2, then they're right there in the driver's seat. For a Big 12 title. And then we start looking at their seeding, their possible seeding, and you're talking about maybe a 2 or a 3 seed moving forward, and that's when you potentially can make, depending on the matchups, can make a big run in March, which is what this whole thing's all about, right? Trying to win a Big 12 title, trying to make it a long run, and maybe even host the National Championship Trophy, which even this discussion, 5 years ago, would have been unfathomable, but people have been saying you're insane to even bring that up. But look, I mean, they came within seconds before doing that. Obviously, it was with a different head coach, but Mark Adams obviously, on another hand, on another point, has this team looking really good. They are still the Red Raiders who play defense. They're still the Red Raiders with a great home court advantage, and this team is built to make that deep run. So we'll see how it all unfolds Saturday. Again, 11 a.m. Central Time here in Lubbock, Texas Tech versus West Virginia. The game will be televised on ESPN2. So with that, I want to thank you for watching, and until next time.